I think it's time we set the record straight about Creed Aventus and Creed Aventus Absolu and whether or not it's worth it. A lot of people are asking, or a lot of people have been asking me, is the legacy of Creed Aventus carried on into Creed Aventus Absolu? And is it worth the $350 to $400 for the Absolu? For the notes of Absolu Aventus, there's significant difference. There's that citron, there's ambroxan, there's also an inclusion of nutmeg, cloves, a lot more spices. And with the Aventus legacy, this was more so of like a pineapple, smoky woods, birchy, incensey vibe. This one, however, did change significantly over time, and I have one of the newer batches, which is a part of the F batch. It does not smell like it used to once upon a time, but it still does smell pretty good. It's like Wolf on Wall Street vibes, and if anything, it just got into a more musky, less birchy and smoky, incensey vibe. I do truly believe that it's because of IFRA regulations. If you don't know what IFRA is, it's the International Fragrance Regulation Association, and I probably just said it the wrong thing. It's probably something else, like intergalactical fragrance repetition attribution or something crazy like that. But anyways, that smoky birchy vibe that you used to get in this one has been regulated, and because of that, they've had to change the formulation pretty significantly. And for the most part, I believe it, because if you think of other fragrances that utilizes a pretty similar patchouli or earthy smoky, like even Profumo by Acqua di Gio, that also got regulated. The whole dark, woodsy, incensey, smoky vibe that was used, or the chemical that was used in a lot of fragrances. Shortly after I got my F batch, which I'm not sure, I think it was in 2023, this one released in 2023. And it really didn't get much love at all. And I think it's because of the price tag. So it does come with a pretty hefty price tag, but I'll be lying to say that I don't really enjoy this fragrance. I actually enjoy it a lot more so than my current batch of Aventus, the original. So it opens up relatively reminiscent to the original DNA, except more so towards like the cologne side of things. So Aventus cologne, it's less oak mossy, less birchy. It goes more towards like that crisp and slightly metallic style of citrus with a lot more of spices, giving it a more aromatic and barbershoppy mid to the fragrance as well. And that's where I start to get like this very Sauvage Elixir style DNA, or just an old school Fougere style DNA. The only reason I say Sauvage Elixir is because that's a pretty damn good interpretation of barbershoppy scents, modern day barbershoppy scents. With that out of the equation, this smells like a barbershoppy take of Aventus with a lot more citrus, less focus on the incensey woods, and still having that ambroxan, the musk, and the backbone of what the Aventus was. So I really enjoy this one. Sure, it smells like it might be a mashup in between the original Aventus meets Sauvage Elixir, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. The only portion where it becomes a bad thing is when you consider the price point. Aside from the price point, the reason why I like this one is the longevity and also the compliments that I've gotten with this fragrance. Almost every time that I worn this, and I've worn it to the gym, to the office, it's pretty mass appealing, I've gotten a compliment. It does smell more elevated than your typical Sauvage Elixir or even just as typical Freshie. It smells as elevated as something like Aventus. So you still have these CEO vibes, you still got this boss status vibe, and it definitely smells a little bit fresher. Instead of using the masculine traits of like that smoky, birchy, and woodsy, it still goes masculine obviously, but more so towards the barbershoppy sense of things. So my overall score for this one is an 8.8, and that's all things considered. That's even with the price point. I think if the price point was a little bit lower, it would even climb up to a 9, maybe even a 9.5. But all things considered, it's still a great fragrance, it's still compliment worthy, and it's still one that I truly enjoy and I don't regret, and I would personally, honestly, buy it again. Lastly, yes, it absolutely has a Sauvage Elixir-esque in it, but I still think it's worth it. I don't think that it's exactly Sauvage Elixir, nor is it exactly Aventus, and it's something, sure, maybe a couple of aspects of both, but the only difficulty comes when trying to recommend this because of the price point, because then it's at that point you're like, okay, that's 180, this is 450, this is 420 for this size bottle. So all things considered, I still like it. I would still buy it again. It really just depends on what you're looking for. Got me compliments. It's lasted pretty much the entire day. If this was at about 250 bucks or less, I think it would be the absolute sweet spot. But it going up for 400 bucks is where I think a lot of the beef lays. Because even though it might have Sauvage Elixir vibes, it also has Aventus vibe. It's just the price. The price is actually pretty bad. I love it. I rock it. I get compliments when I rock this one. The price, it's a little too high. Would I buy it again for collection's sake? Yes. Would I recommend that you go out there and buy it? Probably not, especially not blind buy worthy. I would recommend, however, you go and sample it for yourself. You might fall in love with it and see it in a different light and end up wanting to pick this up. I have it because of collection's sake, and I have it because I enjoy it, and I don't find it to be exactly like any of those fragrances, although clearly smelling like that. And what I would call it is Creed's barbershop take on Aventus. Simple as that. Sauvage Elixir meets a little bit of Aventus. 400 bucks is crazy. I mean, 2 200 to 250 bucks, this would have been something that I could sit here and be like, yeah, guys, go buy it. The takeaway from this video is it's an 8.5 to an 8.8. Go get your nose on this one for yourself. Don't just read a couple of forums and decide from those forums that, oh, it's just the this, oh, it's just the that. No, no, no. There's truly more to that, with some truth of it having reminiscences. I mean, obviously, it does smell like Sauvage Elixir and Aventus, but it works and it smells really good. And if you have a collection like mine, then it might still be worth it. I don't know. Let me know down in the comment section how you feel about Aventus Absolu, and what do you think? Do you think that if their prices was more towards the realm of like, what did I say, 200 bucks, that it would be a more fair price point? My name is Neeb. Thank you for tuning back in AROMATIX, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.